These satellite images show an ammunition depot in the Russian-occupied parts of Ukraine's Kherson region in May and in mid-June 2023. This attack is one of a number of Ukrainian strikes on Russian military infrastructure and supply lines in recent weeks. As Ukraine continues the push to take back territory, Kyiv has been using British long-range missiles in an attempt to degrade Russia's ability to defend the areas it occupies. Here's a closer look at the strategy and the role of Western weapons. In late June, Ukrainian missiles struck a bridge linking the occupied Crimean Peninsula to the Russian-controlled parts of the Kherson region, Russian and occupation officials said. This bridge played a key role in supplying Russia's frontline troops in the south of Ukraine via Crimea. British intelligence said the route's temporary closure doubled the length of time it took for Russian logistics convoys to reach the front lines. The Russian-appointed head of the Kherson region dismissed the significance of the attack. Russian state media reported that rocket fragments indicated the bridge was hit with Storm Shadow missiles from the UK. Ukraine's stepped-up strikes against infrastructure deep in Russian-occupied territory came after London provided it with long-range missiles in May.
Британські Storm Shadow далекобійні ракети роблять зараз дуже корисну і точну справу на фронті.
The missiles are fired from aircraft and have a range exceeding 155 miles, enough to hit Russian logistics hubs and bases. This is dramatically beyond the reach of HIMARS launchers sent by the US to Ukraine, which were modified to keep their range within about 50 miles. Last year, Kyiv successfully used the tactic of targeting Russian supply lines with HIMARS to retake the city of Kherson. However, Kherson was uniquely vulnerable because Russian troops there could only be resupplied over bridges. The Ukrainian and Russian ministries of defense didn't respond to a request for comment on the significance of the recent Ukrainian attacks and the role of long-range missiles. Britain's defense secretary, speaking on the use of Storm Shadow missiles in Ukraine, urged Kyiv's Western allies to provide more long-range equipment.
I think the key here is to recognise that if the Russians move out of range, we must work together internationally to make sure that the equipment is given to make sure they are back in range.
In late June, American and European officials said the US was considering approving a long-range missile system for Ukraine. In the meantime, these attacks show Ukraine's focus on destroying the support system for Russian troops while trying to preserve troops and Western tanks.